In Ghana, 4 out of 5 small businesses that start end up collapsing. And this is a report from the World Bank.
Okay.
And by the 10th year, only one will be surviving if they're able to survive to that point. When people begin to even do well, they do not want the world to know. They don't want their families to know that, oh, they are running this business, it's here and there, because one, they don't want the demands to come. We call it the black tax to come. Okay. And then two, they don't want their family members, the witches in there, to begin to know that, hey, this guy is doing well, so they begin to attack. And it's not funny.
Hello, guys. Welcome to Disclosures Podcast. And today, you can see that we are not recording in our normal setup. We are here in the Oxygen City Hall, and we are here for the 2026 Accountancy Conference. This is day 2. And today, I got the opportunity to bring to you a chartered accountant to also share his experience with us and the way you can formalize your business. I have with me Mr. Dickson Assan. So Dickson Assan is a chartered accountant, and he is among the top 5 most influential people on LinkedIn. So you should know how experienced this gentleman is. Dickson, you are welcome to today's podcast.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
So for starters, businessmen will actually start a business because they have seen a need that they feel like they have the solution to solve. Others may have passion. Why do you think that these men do not think about the paperwork in order to formalize their business?
So the first point is, it is they enjoy the passion, the daily hustle. They feel like they're in control. So when it comes to the paperwork, they feel like they are losing part of the passion that they have. So because of that, they are a bit hesitant. The second point is because of the fear. And the fear mostly is with the regulators, GRA, SSNIT, and any other regulator in that space. Because they feel that once they register, once they have a TIN number, once they have corporate account and all of that, then it means that GRA is after them, SSNIT is after them, all the regulators are after them. So because of that, they would rather want to remain low, and maybe eventually either the business will, the hustle will collapse, or they might be able to put in the systems and start running it as a business.
All right. So the fear has been the bureaucracy and also the likelihood that it will bring in some financial restraint. Therefore, at what point in a small business owner's growth would they decide that, okay, at this point, I should get my business registered? At what point do you think they should formalize their business?
For me, it is the point where you have conceived the vision. If the vision you have for what you are doing currently is to build a business that will transcend you, a business that you can leave it to your to your sons and daughters and your family and all of that, then you need to now put in the structures. Okay? So it could also be a point where you realize that, okay, now the need is giving rise to sales. The sales is increasing. Your customer demand is up there. So now you are in a position where you have to begin to put in the structures to formalize. So that could be to go into the office of the Registrar General, ensuring that, yes, you register with SSNIT and all of that. These are critical because while you think you are avoiding government, regulators, and all of that, you are actually putting a ceiling on how far your business can go. And what do I mean? I mean, the point is that when your business is formalized, government wants to work with you, NGOs want to work with you, banks want to work with you, investors want to work with you. However, if your business is not formalized and you feel you are just doing the hustle, a time and day will come that that hassle will be no more.
Mhm.
And we've seen it all over because in Ghana, 4 out of 5 small businesses that start and end up collapsing. And this is a report from the World Bank.
Okay.
And by the 10th year, only one will be surviving if they're able to survive to that point. So it tells you that formalization is very important.
And that is really my source of worry, because we have seen businesses outside the country, global businesses, which are 100 years above, some approaching 200. And I believe when we were watching the funeral of Queen Elizabeth, the casket producers were an ancient group of companies who have been producing caskets, and for some reason it's for the royal family. And this has been a business which has survived for a century, and it is still building caskets.
Yeah.
If one other cow. So it doesn't mean that you shouldn't formalize your business. What is the kind of myth or horrific stories that entrepreneurs do share that prevents them from even registering their business?
For me, the first, I've already touched on one. So let me just reiterate it.
Okay.
The fear of government
No,
regulation.
if there's some story, you heard something, something you experienced.
Mostly in my communications is first of all the government. Okay. The other part is what I call the superstition that we have. You know, when people begin to even do well, they do not want the world to know. They don't want their families to know that, oh, they are running this business, it's here and there, because one, they don't want the demands to come. We call it the black tax to come. Okay. And then two, they don't want their family members, the witches in there, to begin to know that, hey, this guy is doing well, so they begin to attack. And it's not funny. It will marvel you to know that there are a lot of businesses that has a lot of, have potential to grow. But because of some of these, superstitions and all of that, they want to remain low, okay, small, and not actually invest in the structures that will take them to the next level. The other one is, hey, me na me nkoye na GRA, tackle me. So, you see, the fear of GRA, then will limit them. They don't want to actually go to that space. So, these are some of the myths. And for me, it's a myth that is costly, because eventually it will come back to bite you, and either your business will go down or you go down with the business as well.
So now let's justify their fear and see if there are no solution. I think as for spiritual, we believe there witches for me. But for me as a Christian, I feel like if you have spiritual issues, Jesus is a master savior.
Yeah.
I don't know. But let's look at the fear of GRA, especially government. Is there a solution? Because of course they will come for money. Is there some tax planning strategies, something that you think you can share so that they know that, oh, in case I register or formalize my business, there is actually a solution in dealing with?
Yes. You see, the Income Tax Act at 896 of 2015, as amended several times, it has in place some incentives for all forms of businesses. For instance, if you are under 35, there is a current structure where business owners under 35 are exempted from tax for up to 5 years. That one is there. Depending on the industry that you want to go into, there are also incentives. For example, we are in Ho. Ho is a regional capital. Okay, if you have an agro-processing company here in Ho, maybe you process, let's say, give me an example like pineapple. So you convert pineapple into pineapple juice and all of that. The Income Tax Act has some incentives for you. The fact that you are not located in Accra or Tema, there are incentives. Oftentimes, what I have realized is that Ghanaian businesses, they don't like the consulting aspect of it. So, for example, I'm a chartered accountant and currently almost about to become a tax practitioner. Okay. Instead of them to run to us so that maybe, for instance, if you have 100,000 to invest and you are paying just 5,000 of it to a consultant to help you, position you so that the tax aspect, he can help you to plan your taxes so that your tax liabilities might decrease. Most time they won't do because they look at it, hey, 5,000. You see? So then they will then rely on their own dealings, sometimes paying under the carpet, which can be very costly because that one is not recognized. And because it's not recognized, you can also, even if you prepare accounts in the future, you can also put it. Why? Because it is not recognized in the Income Tax Act. So they need to consult as much as possible the practitioners, and then we can guide them that, okay, when you want to enter into this business, these are the tax implications, these are that, but then these are what you can do, okay, to avoid it, because sometimes even the very nature of the business is so bad. For example, most times they run it as a sole proprietorship. Now, per the law, if you are a sole proprietor, the business is you and you are the business. If there are any liabilities, you are held as accountable as the business. Okay? So if you do not know all of these things and you just rely on your instinct as a business owner or as an entrepreneur, it will come really to bite you in the future. Yeah.
Okay. So this really brings me to that point about consultation. This is a business we had the opportunity to consult for, and they needed an account to submit to GRA because they have been
Operating.
paying. Yeah, they have been cooperating with GRA for a time, and it got to a point they felt like come with proper financials. The moment we walk into the proprietress of the organization told me that even their business, they are not making profit from the business. Then we told them that is why you are too late to consult us. Because if you had consulted us initially, you realize that you don't even have to pay tax whilst you are making profit.
Yeah, I mean,
You are
losses.
making losses.
Yeah.
Exactly. But normally, that's the issue. So
Yeah.
this brings me to another important factor. You raised it. Sole proprietorship. The mere fact that organization, they are missing their personal finances with the business finances, right? There is this issue of corporate bill where we pierce the corporate bill. How does it put piercing of corporate veil, how does it breaks the businessman in terms of in case they are making certain losses and their business is unable to function again?
Indeed, I just started that conversation.
Yeah.
You see, when it comes to the nature and structure of the business, the Companies Act has positioned the companies into different categories. If you decide to go for the, what do we call it, the sole proprietorship, which is very common because they don't want others to be part of the business. They just want it to be them and their families. So the business is them and they are the business. Now, like you've indicated, they then mix their finances and everything with with the business money. So most times you don't even have a proper structure to say, okay, we are recording our sales here, we are recording our expenditure, we are recording this, we are recording that, and at the end of the day, we will be able to determine how much money that we've made. Oftentimes, even this woman that you're saying, it will marvel you that when you ask her to bring you the data that suggests that indeed she's not making profits, she can't.
She doesn't have.
She doesn't have.
It's an assumption.
But just an assumption that she's not making what profit.
Yeah.
It could be that she's making even profit, but she's not aware. And sometimes they misconstrue the sales with profits. Your sales can be low, but you'll still be making profit anyway. So that part, they need to understand the structure of the business, knowing that when you go in for the sole proprietorship and you go for loan today, and for whatever reason you default, the bank has every right to come and seize your car if you have one, to come and close your shop if you have one, to come and even auction your house to offset the loan and all of that. Why? Because the business is you and you are the business. However, when you register it as a corporate, as a limited liability company, the business is separate from you, the owner. So even the liabilities that might accrue to the business is only limited to the business and its assets. Nothing more, nothing less. So it is important that business owners understand some of these things. If you are in doubt, come and consult and we will help you out.
This reminds me of one popular businessman I don't want to call on this podcast. So, because his business is quite politically exposed, so he is politically exposed. So normally the politicians from the other side normally cite him. He borrowed so and so amount from this bank, and he is not paying those things. Then he started taking those people saying that on, because his argument is that he never borrowed money from the bank. A business that he owns went to borrow the money from the bank, so nobody should come
To and
and
attack him.
defaming him that
Yeah.
he actually went to the bank for such a loan.
Yeah.
Okay, so for somebody operating right now who is hiding in the shadows, right? Taking cash, putting it in their personal accounts, and all those things. What do you want them to take? What do you want them to change from tomorrow morning if they decide to take their business serious and they want to formalize?
Even without registration, the first thing you should always do is to ensure that you separate the business money from your personal finances. Never mix them. And so normally what I advise them to do is to pay themselves if your business is at that level. And then over time, you can then have a fee for yourself and all of that. The next thing is to go to the office of the Registrar General, take the forms, and then register your business. I think it's about 2,000 or 3,000 Ghana cedis, say you're done. Once you do that, register with the GRA. When you register with the GRA, it doesn't mean that tax liabilities start accruing immediately. Okay? The minimum you can do is to, yes, ensure that the withholding taxes, everything is done. If you have employees, you have your PAYE and everything done. Okay? Register with SSNIT. These are, we call it compliance issues, because that compliance can come and cripple you. GRA can just come and then, based on whatever issues, might want to close down your shop, might want to close down the business. So when you put in these basic measures, you are actually safeguarding yourself against any possible compliance issues in the future. It's really critical. Really, really critical. If you are envisioning the business to travel beyond you, and you want to hand it over to your next generation and generation and generation, then you need to begin to put in the structures. I've spoken about the compliance. The other part is also what we call the controls. Because nowadays, I hear a lot of business owners complaining about thievery from employees and blah, 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 and all of these things. I always say, if your employees are stealing from on daily basis, it is just a function of your internal controls. They are poor or they don't even exist. And so you need to, most times you can't do it on your own. Come to us, we will help you. Sometimes maybe not with money, but we can have arrangements and then we'll help you out. Put in some basic structures. I have someone who, the guy is the one who goes to the market, buy the stuff, bring it to the shop. He's the one selling, taking the money, putting it into the bank and everything. I said, you have entrusted all these functions to one person. When the person steals from you, don't come and think that, oh, the person is a bad person. Because as you are aware, for any person to steal from the employer, there are three things: the pressure, the opportunity. The opportunity is when you have made everything loose, and then we have the rationalization. Sometimes they think that you are making too much money, you are not giving them, and all of that. So you need to understand all of these things and put measures in place such that you limit the person's ability to take anything from you. If you don't do these things and you are just running things and making some small sales and you think you are running a business, you are not ready yet.
The rationalization bit got me. So this story where the woman runs a very large corn mill business, okay. And out of this corn mill business, she's making so much money that she's building a story. She's putting up a story building. Then
Personal.
for her personal self. Unfortunately, that conversation it leaked to one of his most hardworking staff. And now this guy resigned because he didn't understand why he is suffering. And then
The woman
is making that much money. The advantage is that in this business, the guy was with the plants, with the machine. He wasn't with anything cash or something that can be liquidated so quickly. Otherwise, he could have stopped the work and might have taken something
some of the money away.
So in case I'm run in my dream, I want to run a family business. Forget about the legacy. I don't need all those things, but I want to pass on the wealth I acquire out of my business onto generation. Okay. Is there an opportunity for me to also formalize my business, or I can still choose to play it safe and play it small? After all, it is just a Yokogali business.
Well, again, it comes back to the vision that you have.
Yeah.
If your vision is to build something better, please, the formalization, it doesn't matter. You see, sometimes when we talk about formalization, we overthink.
Okay.
We think that, it's something, sometimes it's just you registering the business. Okay, that's foundational.
Yeah.
And then, even if you have just 2 employees, first of all, ensure that the employees, you have trained them very, very much. Explain the vision that you have for them, for the business, so that they can also buy into the vision. If there are issues, resolve them amicably with them. Don't make it seem like you are doing them a favor, because most times, the entrepreneurs that we have in Ghana, most of them, that is the mindset. When they recruit you, then they feel like, oh, you see, they don't realize that it is a contract. The person is exerting energy, they're exerting intelligence, exerting time, and for you to produce whatever service or product. At the end of the day, you need to also pay the person. So have that. That can be part of what the formalization that you have. Because remember that no matter what you are doing, the business is the people is the business. 2, basic structures. Like, for example, you might want to have even a common CCTV. Common CCTV now is just 3,000. 3,000. Put it there. Put one outside so that it monitors. You see, the human being is such a way that when there is CCTV, even if you are not monitoring or the CCTV is not working, subconsciously they are like, okay, Charlie, my boss is looking at me. So then they might not do other stuff contrary to what you have for the company. These are basic things you can do. And then you start recording basic bookkeeping. Today, how much sales? There are a lot of business owners that when we ask them, what is your annual turnover or what is your monthly turnover, they can't tell. What is the margin on your sales? They can't tell. That, oh, maybe I buy the things 10 Ghana and I'm able to sell it 2 Ghana. So maybe my margin is 20% or whatever it is. You see, if you don't document the transactions happening, the expenses, no matter how small, you need to record. Keep separate books for your expense, separate books for your sales. And then at the end of the year, you can just look at your sales and expenses and see how much. That is basic. Not the big accounting and preparing P&L and balance sheet and all cash flow and those things. You are not there yet, but you can be doing the basic bookkeeping. Okay, so these are some of the things I can talk about when it comes to the formalization. You need it because if, for instance, tomorrow realize that Charlie, the business is in hope, is booming, but your next level will need a capital of, let's say, 500,000. No one under the sun will give you 500,000 when you can't prove that indeed your business is able to generate sales, and then they are able to recoup their investment and all of that. Nobody. So it is really important that we do the formalization so that at least you can even go and bid for government contracts. Because there's no government contract that you can bid without TIN number, without TCC. You need that. And if you want to make more money, those places are where the money is. Like, for example, let me share my personal story. Recently, a friend contacted me about GIZ. They wanted to organize some training for some women entrepreneurs up north. Said, Mr. Assan, I know this thing you can do. So I said, okay, let me put together my list. And then he said, and there are people there, they will require TCC. So now I have to now start running to some of my networks to see if I can generate it. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it, the TCC on time, and the opportunity passed me by. So just imagine, even I'm able to have that TCC and bid for that. That was good money. Almost, I won't it was good money. So these are the opportunities we lose when we don't actually formalize the business. Time comes, you need money to invest in the products. You need money to invest in the services. You need money for infrastructure. Even sometimes to bring in expert hands. Because you realize that maybe the people you started with, they are good, but not good enough for the kind of level that you want to go. So you have to bring in maybe a chartered accountant, an HR person, to help you. But where is the money?
Yeah, that is my next question. Accountants are not cheap. Honestly, the fact that you are running a smaller business, we want you to formalize, does not mean we should tell you they are not cheap. Now, my question is, if you decide not to make an investment in the accountants into having a professional advice, what will be your risk? What are you losing? So be guided by this. The normal quote you hear: if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Okay, so the opportunity cost. You want to save your money, that's fine. You don't want to get a professional. What will be the risk? And
you see, you have summarized everything into, I mean, if you think an accountant is cheap, I mean, it's expensive, okay? Out for non-accountants. For instance, let's take even the tax aspect. There are so many opportunities for you to plan your tax such that your tax liabilities will reduce. That knowledge is with the accountant, okay? And if you don't do that, and penalties come. I have a client, okay? He didn't have an accountant, but he has been running business. He's okay. He has been able to use the business to build his own house, blah, 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 and all of that. Now, he wants to go to the next level. So I said, okay, let's go to jail. Fortunately for him, he has already registered. But when we checked for the non-compliance, his current tax liability was over 500,000. Over 500,000. Maybe within that space of 3 years, you wouldn't have paid your accountant 500,000.
Yeah.
So that is the value that you lose when you decide to think that, oh, you are too smart enough to run your business. Yes, we agree. But there is someone who has the knowledge, someone who has the experience, someone who has done it, who can help you reduce your liabilities in those states. If, for instance, you want to even go for a loan, the bank will assess the quality of people going to handle the loan.
Yeah.
If it is you alone, no bank will give you that money because they want that level of accountability. that level of integrity and objectivity when it comes to the business. And it is not like the accountant who provides that. So if you decide not to invest in an accountant, I'm telling you that you are investing into failure.
Yes, and of course, it is the accountant who really has something to lose if he doesn't operate ethically.
Yeah.
Because he stands a chance of getting his certificate being withdrawn from him if he decides to become unethical. Okay, so I think there are people who can be trusted if you partner with them.
I mean, my point is, always as a business person, you never enter into any business relationship without contracts. Get a contract if you fear. Yes, accountant bar training, we are to abide by the principles as espoused by IFAC and all of that. But you can also have a contract with the accountant. The contract binds you to, and at the end of the day, it is difficult for him to do any other thing. You have already mentioned the fact that you can lose your license. Not just the license, you lose your credibility. So because of that, the accountant might not do anything untoward towards the business. Yes, and if you are in doubt as to whether the accountant is correct, you can write to the Institute of Chartered Accountant to confirm the person's status. That, oh, I want to hire this person. Okay, this person profess to be a member of your institute. Can you confirm? Okay, and it's so simple for them to confirm for you.
Okay, so we are coming to the end of this conversation. We want to take something away as a business. I have the hope that I will employ an accountant by the end of this year. However, I am running and I will run till the end of the year in order to get a contract with an accountant. What kind of books, what kind of records should we keep as the foundation so that when we bring in the professional, he will take it out from there?
Okay, so the sales part is there. The purchases side, whatever you purchase that you want to sell, okay, you should record. Now, oftentimes, people only record just how much they paid to acquire, but they forget that the cost of transportation and everything should be part of the cost of what? The purchases. So you have to record that. Then you record your sales, okay? Now, you also have to get data of the customers, which most of the times people don't do in Ghana. Why? It is important for you to have a database of the people who buy from you, so that it helps in we call it the customer service management. At the end of the day, you need them for repeat purchases so that the business can continue to exist. So have that purchases, the sales, your expenses. When you pay anything to your employees, have a book even for just the employees, even if they are two or just one. Whatever you are paying to them, you have to record, so that when an accountant comes on board, it's easier for the person to know that, oh, you have been keeping some basic records. And then based on our scale, we can use the scale of incomplete records to just help you put together statement of affairs and all of that, and then you are good to go.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Businessman, you need your sales, you need your purchases, not just the purchases, but any costs that you incur in acquiring what you acquire. Customer data is very important, and then your expenses. I will add one. Keep asset register as well. So thank you, Dickson, for gracing our podcast, and we are so grateful.